And we are live. Hi, everyone. Oh, my goodness. I just love it. Welcome, 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 everyone, to another episode of Moms, the number four Trans Kids podcast. Hi, Ellen, all the
Hi,
way from,
everybody.
I don't even want, look, I am so jealous. Podcast. Hi. Is that me? Or you? Okay. Okay. Hi, Ellen, and then hi, Chelsea. Chelsea, welcome back. So, y'all, if you've been watching the show,
Hi.
you've probably seen Chelsea has joined us the last two shows. Thankfully, we have a new face. So amazing because we've been looking for a transgender person in a show about trans people. So we're so thankful to Chelsea. Chelsea, can you find me live? Are you able to find me?
Yes, that's what I'm over here trying to do. So I got you.
All right, so just mute it so that it doesn't come through, and then we're good to go. All right, so y'all, welcome so much. Today we don't have Kim. Kim is usually here and joining us from. I think she's going to join us from wherever in the world that she is. Kim is my co-partner in crime, another mama beast that just is here talking about how just what's life like with two children who one of them has actually walked the ropes of suicide. So it's one of those things that being a parent, we don't take these things for granted. It's not a joke. So thank you so much, everyone that's always joined us. Today we have a new face. My twin, Miss Ellen. Hi, Ellen.
Hi. So good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Ellen, someone actually connected me with you. They were like, you need to meet Ellen. Have you met Ellen? You need to meet Ellen. Yeah. I said, who's Ellen? They're like, she's just like you. She looks like you. I was like, really? I want to see
Same
this person.
haircut,
Same haircut, same glasses. Not this one, but
same
this one.
outfit, same
The
everything.
fancy one. Yes. Um,
Yes.
but so, Ellen, thank you so much for joining us, for being a Black mama beast who's affirming their child. I know that that is tough. So tell us, why did you say yes to come on this show? I always want to begin with that. Why did you
Mm.
say yes?
This journey is a lot of work. And I think that it's important that these conversations happen, um, especially within our community, within the BIPOC community, but particularly in the Black community. Um, I it's I'm constantly evolving, and I think that's the thing that people um, don't seem to understand is that it is constant education, constant learning. It's reprogramming your thinking. It's unlearning what you've learned, what we've learned as Black people, um, whether that's from a political standpoint or personal views or the traditional nuclear family views, if you will. Um, And so I think that the most important thing is really having these conversations around, um, the trans community being human beings. That has been so far removed on the basis that maybe someone doesn't know or is not well versed or educated on the topic. And I tell people all the time, um, you don't have to be educated and know the ins and outs, right? But what you do need to do is to treat people like human beings. And I think that's the most important message that I want to share with the viewers is that you don't lose anything. No one loses anything by somebody else thriving and being happy in their own existence.
Amen.
You don't lose not one thing. And I'm finding that people feel so they feel like their livelihood is at risk, at
Risk.
stake, and I just don't understand why. um and so I think that is hi, Rebecca. That's my friend. I told her to come on and join
Hi,
on in.
Rebecca.
You,
she's
Rebecca?
she's an ally. So
Yes.
she's been in my space in a very supportive space for a very long time. Um, so I think that is the main message. Um, Trans people have been put into the space of being so dehumanized, and so I know that a part of that is the conversations that don't happen, and the lack of understanding, the lack of empathy, and just kind of moving with these narratives that are so many untruths. So I think that that is really important as to why I was so honored to be invited to this live, because uh, these conversations definitely need to happen, and they are long overdue. Um,
I love that. I love the three. I love I love that you started right just from the get go and just dropping gems. The three words that I heard: unlearning, normalizing, and humanizing. And
mhm.
to actually bring a face of the trans people to the forefront is our co-host Chelsea. I mean, like many
Mhm.
people say, "Oh, I don't know any trans people," and I say, "Could you be that you don't know them, or you're just not safe enough for them to show themselves to you?" Like, hello. So, Chelsea, what do you want to say to what Ellen just started right off the gate talking about?
Well, you
Black
you know
people
you know
there.
I've already connected her with her when she said human. That is my platform as an advocate. I advocate just being kind to your fellow mankind. Doesn't matter who they are, what they are. So
Mhm.
I've already connected with you on that. One thing I want to go back to, you left out, I think, was especially in the African American community, spiritual, religion. It is hard in our community that we've been instilled with religion that right is right, wrong is wrong.
Mhm.
And sometimes I think people are afraid of the unknown
Yeah, yeah.
and they don't want to know. And then when they do, I'll be honest, when I've met a lot of people who've never met a trans person, first thing they tell me is, oh, you're nothing like what I thought you were going to be.
Mhm.
So what is it you thought I was going to be? I'm a human being. I'm a child of God, just like you. I choose to live my life the way I choose to live it. And I'm happy. I'm not hurting anyone. And so why does it matter to you? Just be happy that I'm thriving.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I love that people are afraid of what they don't know. And going back to what Ellen said, as a matter of fact, a lot of times people get the wrong information from people who are not even trans. They're not even transgender. So if you're not transgender, how do you know about trans people? How do you know what trans people look like? Anybody who says to me, because I said this to my own child, I said, well, Dr. Monica, my friend, she's a pediatrician in Portland, Oregon. She's the head of pediatrics. And she said, you know what? We don't have any Black transgender patients. And I said, that's a lie. There's no way there's no Black transgender patients in your practice, a big medical training hospital. No. But what y'all have not done is made it in such a way that they feel safe enough to show themselves to you. And then my child said, Mom, I would have never showed myself to you. I said, why? He said, because you are my pediatrician and you are my mom. So my child brought it back home to the fact that safety has to be at home. So when the child is telling the doctor, they still have to come home with their mother. They have to come home with their father.
Mhm.
So it brings it back to the parents, to the home front being the most important and the first place where the child can be who they are. So Ellen, tell us, without telling us if you don't want to, but tell us, how was your first day, your first reaction, your first knowledge? How did that play out? Because I haven't had too many Black parents come on this show to talk about that first moment when they knew.
I think I think what a lot of people don't understand is, so let me just start by saying that, I'm going to love my child unconditionally regardless. So let me start there. Um, but I think the fear that I had wasn't so much of me not being able to support him. The fear came from the uh, uh, his safety being jeopardized, the societal stressors that came along with the erasure of trans people. That's where the fear comes in. That's where the tears came from. That's where the anxiety came from, because we live in a system that doesn't support trans people. I mean, and we can all speak to this, that Black trans women are at the highest murder rates, um, and unfortunately, those murder rates, they're the people that are, um, the people that are murdering them are within our community.
Yes.
They're
Not
within.
only that, also people that know them, people that are intimate with them. I mean, I'm just going to come out and say it.
Mhm.
Obviously, we have a trans woman here who's going to back us, or maybe not back us, but from the every time I say her name, I read close to said her boyfriend or her lover or someone. So it's always someone that they know. I mean, oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry to take it from you, but
That's okay.
And no, and I want to make a point on that too. A lot of girls, we want a lot of, I'm not going to say all girls, but there's a lot of African American girls that want to live that life of that girl with those type of guys. They get involved with some of these guys that they know that are not out.
Mm.
And then you do things and you say things when you don't get your way. Oh, I'm a tell. And then these guys freak out. And they don't, it's a split decision. Oh, I'm going to kill this girl because I don't want my family to find out. Well, guess what? You've ruined this, you've taken this girl's life, your life, you've ruined her family's life, and you've also ruined your family's life. And now anybody in the world
knows. Exactly.
Everybody in the world knows.
Everybody knows. That's the thing. Thank you.
People need to live their truth. Trans girls, I mean, especially women of color, it's a high rate. And we've got to stop putting ourselves in places that are not good for us.
They're not safe, yeah.
And this is the thing. We got to know who we're dealing with. But you never know a person 100%. Because how many women have slept with men who are serial rapists and they never knew?
Yes.
A serial killer. So you never know a person 100%. But when you live a fast life, you can die by a fast life.
Mm-hmm.
I've had put myself in situations to where I'm blessed to be here. And it's not that I was living a fast life. I just did things that I think back on and said, why did I do that? And then another thing, telling your truth. You got to be comfortable with who yourself. Because I have men walk up on me all times, every which way. And the first thing out my mouth, thank you, but this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had men tell me, oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me, oh, you still look nice, or that's not me, but thank you. And I'll keep it moving. Because my life.
You know what, though, baby girl, here's my thing. I think it's two-pronged. I think living your truth is not only for the trans women. I want to say over loud here that living your truth is for everybody. If a man is having sex with men, you need to come out as who you are and claim it, and stop with the shaming, and then stop shaming yourself, because it becomes a whatever that word is, perpetrating, yeah, right. And I want to give flowers to Alex Fox 1968 on Instagram, who says, good for you guys shedding light on such an important topic. It's true. We have to start talking about it. If you're a man and you find yourself attracted to other men, come out and say it. Stop hiding, because nobody wants their child to come home in a body bag because they hung out with you. That's not my child's problem if you are in the closet. That's not Chelsea's problem if Chelsea's friend is in the closet. We have to start coming out. People just stop judging other people and start coming out. And I want to go back to something that Ellen said at the beginning of her testimony, so to say. Ellen, you said you are not so much afraid of supporting your child. You are afraid for their safety. We're coming back to that. Nobody wants their child to go out around the corner and not come home because of some cockamamie bullshit nonsense that somebody is in the closet and whatever. Just be yourself, because I need my child to come home every night. So,
Yeah.
Ellen, about that safety and that fear, how did you go about it? How did you navigate that, as it were,
Mhm.
with regards to trying to, I guess, how did you navigate it? Being a Black woman, your
Mhm.
child telling you, I don't know what your child told you, don't know the exact words they told you, at what age? How did you put that together and become the mama beast that you are today?
I think a lot of it, and into both of what you spoke to, I think a lot of it was just aligning myself in my son has an amazing village. We have an amazing chosen family. And so it has been aligning us with people that are just going to support us. And I tell people all the time, you don't have to understand this, you don't have to agree with it, you don't have to support it, and that's okay. We're just not fucking with you.
That's right. Straight up.
We're just not gonna deal with
We're
you.
not, we're not gonna mess with you.
We're just not gonna deal with you, and we are okay with that. And we're not going to negotiate. We're not going to go back and forth. It's a very hard stop. It's a very hard cutoff. There's enough going on, and little to your point, you had mentioned about people embracing who they are, and just even which makes it difficult for Black men or men to have relationships with trans women, or when they are in relationships with trans women, the shaming that
Mm-hmm.
happens to those men,
Yes.
Exactly.
the bullying that happens to those men.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I tell people all the time, people like who they like, and everyone has their own thing. Everyone has their own sexual attraction. Everyone has something about a person that they like. There's things that I have that maybe somebody else doesn't have, or that someone else, that a trans woman has, that of clearly that I don't have. But there's some men that like trans women coming in the package, the physical package of who they are. You understand? So I
Yeah.
think that a lot of times we move into this space, and I feel like um, in the Black community, we still have so many hurdles to get over. I don't know why we are still on this. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that there's a bigger component of this. I want to say that this comes from a very much of this historical context that's been embedded in who we are and how we've existed. um, for centuries. People who have the duality of sexuality, or they have the duality of feminine, masculine, feminine um, uh, sides of them. That's nothing new.
It's not new.
Since the beginning of time, that is nothing new.
There's nothing new.
And so when they talk about the demasculation of men and all of these other things, and that's for another show. But those things are very real from a historical standpoint, as to why, just from the gay perspective,
Mm-hmm.
as to why there has been this cloud of
Mhm.
Black men embracing who they are, their sexuality, and who they are, publicly. There's always been that.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that the thing that really has kept us afloat is, it's been a number of things.
Mm-hmm.
But the one main thing is, we just don't deal with you if you're not on board.
That's
You're
right.
going to be 100% on board, or you're not. And I tell people all the time, you can ask questions. I welcome that, because I've had to ask questions.
Yes.
People often think, oh, well, girl, someone told me, Lulu, oh, well, you're gay yourself, so this should be a cakewalk. Girl, this is apples and oranges.
Yes.
I'm not a trans person. I don't know
I'm
what
not
that.
a trans person. That's why I wanted you to come on this show so badly, because I said, here's somebody who is also queer, because that's my preferred term,
Mhm.
and also a mother of a trans child who definitely is my twin. If there was a twin out there, is you, because we are together in the. Everyone's like, oh yeah, but you're okay because you're like that. I said, no. This is gender and this is sexuality.
Right.
I had to learn everything because nobody taught me that in medical school. Nobody taught me that in the Catholic Church, that's for sure. No one taught me that in Nigeria, where they're as homophobic as fuck. I had to
Mhm.
learn myself. If I can learn it, Everybody can learn it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
But
that people run with, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chester.
but do people want to learn it? That's the problem.
Because
Do
when
they
people
want to?
learn things, that means that they are embracing or they're accepting. And you have
Exactly.
another side of people who are shaming them for accepting. So
Exactly.
ignorance keeps them in a place of, okay,
Exactly.
but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can be okay with I don't know. And I can still move accordingly. That creates this space for people to not err on the side of treating somebody like a human being. It
Yes.
makes it so much easier. Your conscience makes it easier for you to do that.
Yes.
Mhm.
The denial.
The
I want to
denial.
take a moment and hold space for Alec Fox 1968, who says that they agree 100% on Instagram, by the way. Says, you guys are amazing. Thankfully, I am Canadian. It's a bit safer here, but we still have a long way to go. You have my 100% support. Thank you so much, Alec Fox 1968. That's what we're doing here. We're just here normalizing stories, telling stories, showing Black faces. It doesn't get any better than this. Showing Black faces who are affirming. It is something that people have never seen before. I went to church for the first time today in 5 years, to a Catholic church here in Atlanta, Georgia. I was one of 4 Black people, but everybody said, oh my God, you have to go there. It is the most affirming church, LGBT friendly church, such and such and such. I went there. Everybody's white. And they're looking at me like I am like, you know, I was happy to be there. Don't get me wrong. I was like, okay, I'm Catholic, but the place is not Black enough.
Yeah.
So we still need Black people. And welcome to the show, Diary of a Mad Black Man. Welcome to the show, Danielle Bonanno. That's my girl, Okwi. Thank you all so much. Welcome, welcome. We are talking about holding space, normalizing, humanizing trans faces, humanizing and normalizing Black trans faces, Black trans families that are affirming. I went live today on my Instagram. I wanted to thank everyone who has called me a bad parent, a failure as a parent. Somebody said they should cut off my head. Someone said that they should arrest me and put me in jail. My child should be taken from me. These are the good ones. Okay, these are the good ones because I'm affirming of my child. Well, like my friend Ellen, my twin sister Ellen said, we're not like y'all. 1, 2. We're not fucking with you. So you know what? That's fine. I'm just
okay you would be surprised. You all would be surprised of how many when we stand firm in delivering that, you would be surprised of how people feel so put off. They're like, well, what do you mean? I said what I said. I said what I said. It was very clear.
We my food chest.
It was very clear. If you want to ask questions, and there are things that I may not even be able to answer, but I'm constantly educating myself, and I think that's a thing. You know, my son Nico, we moved through this journey, and what people also don't know is Nico is constantly discovering and finding his space, his lane. People think that trans people come out and they got it down.
That's it. Yes.
Listen, 33 years here as trans out publicly. I'm still learning myself at 51.
Yes.
I'm still transitioning.
Amen. You know what?
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing because you keep learning things about yourself. And that's what makes me keep going.
Well, first
it's not a road there's no destination. And just to kind of add to it, I'm 55 and I came out as pansexual last month. So yes, to continue to discover. If you choose to not discover anything about yourself, you're not ever going to grow. Never. And what a life that is. Like you just feel,
that's why people want to sit and judge and be miserable because they don't know how to grow. And the people like you, I'm going to go back where you were saying people are telling you to cut your head off. And these are the same people that say they're Christians.
Oh, yes.
and they're doing God's work.
Yes.
And people really need to stop using religion to be judgmental, because at the end of the day, like we both said, God, I always say God just wants us to be kind to our fellow mankind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ellen, you were going to say something. Yes, Ellen, you were going. Thank you so much, sis, for adding that. Ellen, you were going to say something, and I'm going to read the comment from Sam.
You know, first of all, you sitting here talking about 51. We need to see some identification. Okay, we're gonna verify that after show off.
Listen, wait a minute. Listen, last night we were on a boat cruise, and then we went to a restaurant, and I took my ID out and left it in my other bag. Do y'all know I got carded and they wouldn't let me into the restaurant bar? And guess what? Did I get mad? I said, that's a win. I'm going to take it. I was so happy. So yes, 51, 1973.
Amen. Wow. Thank you so much, Sam Castle. Sam says, I'm 41 and still figuring it out. That's life. If you aren't growing, then you are dying. Yes, exactly. I'm thriving, baby. Sam is one of our adopted trans sons on the show. Sam, thank you so much for just always showing up and just showing out. Y'all, let me tell you, as Black, and Sam is also Black, being a full of sound mind and body, there are many Black people who are trans and self-affirming, which I think is I think that's the beautiful thing that Ellen mentioned earlier on, that her child is self-affirming, which means I don't need you. Okay, I don't need you and your Bible to come and tell me that I'm real. I don't need you and whatever it is to come and tell me that I'm real. I can affirm myself. And I think that's what too many people are missing.
Yeah.
You know, for somebody to tell me to go to have my head beheaded, to have me beheaded because I said I'm an affirming parent of a transgender child. At what point did Jesus ever use any kind of violence? Yeah. And just because, and like Ellen said at the beginning, just because I'm affirming my child, that's not bothering you. How does that bother you?
I don't know how his happiness takes away from yours. Oh my God. I could never understand that. And so I think, you know, people get into these spaces of wanting, you know, they want you to explain why they should exist. And I tell people all the time, I'm not explaining to you why human beings should exist. Just as like, I don't get to explain to your spouse or your parents or your children why you should exist. Right now, if you are not treating people with kindness, if you are infringing up on hate and physical harm to people, you might not need to be here. But for me to just go about my day and ensure that the person or the people that I love has a safe space to live and exist in takes nothing away from you. Absolutely nothing. So, you know, the political component that has been used to fearmonger, the political component that has been used to get people to feel as though this is detrimental to the traditional family and this, that, and the third. Traditional families haven't been traditional families since America was existed.
Since forever. What is define it? What is the definition of traditional family? I think honestly,
it was traditional when they Columbus came over here and almost wiped out a whole indigenous people. It wasn't. That's not traditional. It was.
It's traditional about what they tell you.
Yes.
What they want you to believe. And I said this on the first show. People need to pay attention to what's going on in their own houses.
In their own closets, yes.
In their own closets, because there's more skeletons hidden in those closets for those people who are out there who have so much to say.
Fix your own home.
Fix your own home.
Fix your own home. Because we are a people of, you know, I tell people all the time, we come into this space natural, you know, as natural born sinners. Now I don't try to get into the Bible and all that, but you know, I grew up with Southern Baptist parents, so you know, I know a little thing or two about some church.
Okay.
So if we're going to cover the span of the Bible, if you all are going to pull things out of the Bible, include everybody.
Include everything. Don't just take out some.
No, put yourself in there too.
If you're breathing, the Bible has something to say against you. I do want to take a moment at this point to say that the show is called Moms, the number 4, Trans Kids. You can find us on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, everywhere. Please find us, follow us, and if you will, leave us a review. We want to know how we're doing, how the guests are doing. How did you hear about us? And can you please tell someone about us? We are not going anywhere. As a matter of fact, we're about to have a reunion episode, and I'm going to have all my Black parents come to do a reunion episode because we need to do that. Then we need more parents. Since y'all want to cut our heads off, no problem. We'll show you our faces so you can cut all our heads off. And let me see how far you're going to go with that. I want to say something about what Alex Ford says. Alex says, in my humble opinion, God doesn't make mistakes. You are all perfect just the way you are. Your work is so important in this day and age. I'm not sure where the hate is coming from, but it's real. And Okwi says discoveries in progress, talking about us discovering ourselves. Let's talk about where the hate is coming from. Chelsea, do you want to start this second segment and say, where do you think the hate is coming from?
The lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of, I'm going to say this, power. People want power over people. People want to tell people what they can do, what they can't do, especially when it comes to people of color. You know, if we have a totem pole, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to humanity. I'm a Black trans woman. I'm not supposed to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not supposed to live a good life. I'm supposed to be a crackhead, prostitute on the streets and I'm definitely not supposed to be spiritual, which I am. Because the first thing is, well, how could you be spiritual? I walk with God because this is how I made it this far. Because without him, there's nothing I can do, and when there's no one else there except him.
That's right.
I sit up I tell people all the time, people think I have this fabulous life, but you don't see what's behind these closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he's the only person I can talk to. And he talks and he answers my questions. And the hate is, people hate because that's what you're taught.
It's a learned behavior.
It's a learned behavior. And people who hate as well, they're hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
And society, like I said, society tells you let's make America great again. Well, when was it ever great? It's always been great for you all, but not for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not for us. No matter how wealthy we become, how many things we invent, no matter what we do, we're still going to be nothing but a second-class citizen.
Well, that's to them.
And that's not, and wait a minute, let's not say all of them, but yes, the people who are trying to run these,
yes, we know who we're talking about.
I don't like to go there, but we're always going to be looked at as second class.
Mm-hmm.
Or always going to be looked at as not even human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're nowhere near equal, never will be. So, so I just think the hate, it's sad. Because, I don't have a bone in my body that could hate another human being. So
I want to take a moment and shift the conversation a little bit. So we just got joined by Richard Schmidt on YouTube. I want to give a shout out to Richard, my brand new friend. Hey, Richard. Hey. So Richard is a proud dad of a trans woman. I did not think that I would ever see those words written together in that order in my life as a woman, as a mother, and all that. So let's make a little shift. Even though Richard has also put a disclaimer, says, not a mom though, I like that, but nonetheless, proud with full chest of being a proud dad of a trans woman. Let's talk a little bit about this in the Black community. And I want to preface it with a story. I had a gentleman in my Facebook community who attempted to unalive himself. Trigger warning. The gentleman attempted suicide because his only son is gay. A black man tried to kill his own self. So let's talk about this fear, this extreme fear of anything feminine. And Richard, if you're still there, please chime in. I'd like to hear your thoughts about this.
So you saying the father?
Yes, the father tried to kill his own self, like
Was he the gay son?
because his son is gay. And I was like, wait, what? Oh my God! But he's black.
You know what it is, and I'm going to answer this real quick.
Yes.
People, they're not worried about the child. They're worried about everybody else and what they're going to think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's where people need to stop. Because
Mhm.
my own mother said that she was worried about what people were going to say, and then it came into her head, like Ellen, like you said, she was worried about my safety because coming out in the 90s, it was different.
Mhm.
It was totally different, and so I think it's crazy because you're worried about you have a gay child and what everybody else thinks. I have to tell you, I love my father, and my father accepts me 100%. And he tells me, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And when I just did the pageant last year and he saw the pictures, and when my dad said to me, and he told me, he said, oh my God, you are beautiful. To hear my father tell me that I was beautiful, and I'm a junior. I was a junior. To hear my father tell me that I was beautiful, that just warmed my heart, and it still does, because I never thought I would hear those words from a Southern black man.
Mm.
But to tell me that I'm beautiful, that's when I knew my dad loved me just for me being me.
I want to say something. I want Ellen, and I don't know anything about Ellen. Just so y'all know, I try my best not to hear my guest stories before the show, so that my reaction is raw. So Ellen, I don't know anything about your marital status, your life, your trans son's father, but I want to know if you're able to tell us how did that person react to your child being trans and being a
Well,
trans.
well, I'm lucky because my journey has been my journey has been a little different than the traditional
Mm-hmm.
traditional journey with how children are how children are created. My son is a product of 5294. He's a donor baby.
Mm.
So um so that was something that of course we've never had to deal with that. But to speaking to just what was spoken to earlier or a few minutes ago, um, I think one thing that I'm always talking about is nobody else is supporting Nico. So your opinions, and when you said the father took his own life, you know, nobody else is supporting his child but the father. So your opinions and what you are saying to me doesn't matter. I tell people all the time, I'm very much pro-choice and I'm very much pro-life. But let me tell you why when I'm pro-life. I'm pro-life when you're supporting the child from the womb to the tomb. That's when I'm pro-life.
Amen.
I'm pro-life when they come out black. I'm pro-life when you're supporting them when they come out disabled. I'm pro-life when you support them when they come out trans. I'm pro-life when you are supposed to be supporting the veterans. See, all of these pro-lifers want to say, "Oh, we're pro-life," but you're not, because there's some drops in the ball. And when all of these other terms and conditions present itself, and then you remove yourself from being pro-life, right? So, um, so I know that in Nico's journey, there were a lot of things that I didn't have to deal with. Um, Particularly him having he had an anonymous donor. I didn't have to deal with that from another parent perspective. But as I mentioned before, I think people know me well enough to know that we don't have to deal with you at all.
Amen. Amen. Wow. I did not know that. I did
We
not
are
know
fine with
that.
that. And so,
So good. So good.
and I think it's just the, I want to go back to speaking to just educating, because people move into a space of thinking, when I post things on my social media, or I talk very candidly about just my journey, or some things that, I come into passing with. I speak very openly about my journey, and just um, putting that out there so people have a level of understanding that I don't know it all. I'm the first one to tell you I don't know. I'm the first one to ask. I'm the first one that am always looking for a way to make sure that I am progressive in thinking and forward thinking. I don't ever like to assume, but I also have these relationships, particularly with the trans women that I know, where I can sit in these spaces and inquire and ask, because I don't know.
No, yes.
I don't know what hormones, I don't know. I think the one thing that I have been challenged with in speaking to this with other people is how the hormones break down the physical the physical body of trans women, and how that is very aligned with how my son taking testosterone. There's a chemical change, right? A lot of
Mhm.
people don't know that. So this is where the ignorance comes in, because they say, oh, well, they're coming in and they're naturally born men, and then how is that fair in sports and all this other thing? But see, you don't know the medical component of it. That's the part that you're missing. And so those are the conversations that need to happen, because it creates this dynamic for people to be a little more knowledgeable. And again, making sure that people are still being spoken into in a sense of being human beings.
Human beings.
People act like my son takes testosterone and then he's just going to bulk up and turn into the Incredible Hulk. That's not how it works.
Hmm.
And then there's a mental psychological component of it that goes with this as well.
Yeah.
I'm in therapy every week, right? And so my therapist had to, bring light to reminding me that, she has other trans male patients, F to men patients. And she says, and they're a little older, it takes years for the medical component and the psychological component to be balanced and aligned, and for there to be this level of your own body understanding. People don't know that.
People don't know that. They think it's overnight. I love that. Oh my God. That is so profound. People don't know what it's like to actually be transgender, unless you are trans. And I say that because my own child said, you know what, Mom? For a long time, I was this person. I also kind of sort of miss that person. People don't realize that this is a human being. It's not, you're right, they don't just transition overnight. And some of them don't want to transition. Every trans person has different levels of what they want to transition if they want to. Some of the kids don't. My kid said, Mom, I love my body. I actually like my body. I was like, oh. So people just hear them, they just think the worst. Oh, he's a man, and he's like, I don't know, man. I get.
I'm so glad you brought that up. The trans community as well has to stop bullying other trans people about their transition.
Mm-hmm.
It starts within our own community.
Yes.
And we're the first ones to judge or say something about someone else's transition. And I tell everybody, everyone's transition is different. None of us has the same transition. Some of us we can become girls or boys overnight because you have the money to do it. Look at Bruce Jenner.
Yeah.
Okay. You can become an instant woman because you have the money to do it. There's a process. And, like I said, 33 years here, I'm still transitioning.
Yeah.
Still learning things out about my body with hormones and the chemical imbalances. But within our own trans community, we have to stop. And there's a new show that's coming out with trans women. And I'm going to say this, I'm disgusted by it because it puts us in a negative light. And these girls are fighting each other and they're talking about each other's transitioning. Oh, you're a boy with the wig, or you're a boy with the... And I'm so disgusted, not with the network, because the network is going to do what's going to bring them ratings and money. I'm disgusted and upset with my younger sisters and my sisters who have been in the industry. You should know better. We face too much diversity for you to keep doing this for us to keep doing it to each other. And if we can't work together, how do you expect over there to understand us?
And I'm going to even speak to that because I don't even think it's so much that is true as well. But even within the scope of the queer community, there's so much separatism.
Oh, yes. My God, preach.
So much separatism. It is, well, can't you just be, well, wait a minute.
Wait, why is you bisexual? And lesbian said that to me. I was like, wait, what? Did I make myself bisexual? What are you doing?
One or the other. You're supposed to be in this box.
This one, yes.
And then when we get a little deeper, and just even the Black queer community, for a long time, and I'm from the Midwest, but I remember coming out here and being conditioned to feeling like, because I'm more feminine presenting, to feeling like that I can only date masculine presenting women.
Oh,
see.
What you mean you dating somebody that's feminine? You can't do that. That's like a waste of a relationship.
God. Ellen, you have to come back another time. This is something I've been wanting to talk about. Like, you don't get to choose who you're attracted to. How many ways can I say that? Like, you don't get to choose. You just are attracted to who you are attracted to. My ex-wife was the most feminine looking stud, if there's such a thing. If you can imagine, she was a 38J.
Oh.
And yes, it was the most comfortable pillows I love it so much. Because I'm a boobs kind of girl. I love what I love. You're trying to shame me because I like what you just like.
Dr. Lulu.
No, but she was. There's nothing. It's not a secret. I mean, but also she had back pain and she ended up having a reduction. I'm just saying, she's a human being.
Yeah.
But she's not masculine at all. But she's 5'11", and she's beautiful. I mean, you just like who you like. Oh, Ellen, thank you for bringing that up because that.
And in the trans community, you back in the day, you don't kai with the girls. Now you find that the trans girls, they're attracted to other trans girls. They're having a relationship. There's trans girls and trans guys, So it's different, like 30, I tell people 20 years ago, it was so different. So I get what you're saying, especially being an LA girl, it's either one or the other. One or the other. So yes.
One or the other. And you can't, there's this stigma around, well, you can only date what looks like this, or you can only, and there's this whole thing. And then, like you had mentioned, Lulu, about just being bisexual. I can't tell you how many times in the queer community, people said bisexual. Well, you really not? How you gonna tell somebody who they are?
I don't know. I don't know. It's worse now because now I'm like, oh, I'm sapio pansexual. But what the fuck is that? I don't know. Look it up. Like, seriously. Like, you are who you are. I just Ellen, before we leave, I want to take a moment to ask you a couple of questions. How can people find you and follow you? What do you do for a living? How can people find you and follow you? And what would you like to say to other parents whose kids are watching this show and they're like, I'm going to tell my mom tonight? What would you say to those parents?
Well, you can find me Ellen Craig, Instagram, Ellen Craig 06, or LinkedIn Ellen Craig, and as well as Facebook Ellen Craig. I am my love has always been in education. However, I had a little pivot and picked up a second win to a new profession. My son is in the entertainment industry as a DJ, so I started supporting him when he was 8. He's now 21, about to be 22. So I do a lot of work in that side of things, and also have independent solo artists that I'm working with as well. But I know the one thing that I will always say is, with any queer child or trans child or whatever, it's unfortunate, because the great thing that I love about this bill that Newsom just signed to protect trans kids in California is a wonderful thing. But there are people who don't understand that, in a sense that they feel like, oh, well, I should be able to know about, my child. Why would the school keep that from me? Well, the school is keeping that from me because the school don't know what you're going to do.
Because you're a mess. Thank you. Because you're a hot mess. You are a hot mess, especially because you said something about it. That's because you're a hot mess. Mm-hmm. You're a hot mess. And you know what? I wish other governors were like your governor. I thought that was just so amazing. I was one of the hot messes. Are you kidding me right now? Yes. We cannot trust our kids with you. The kids cannot trust themselves with you.
That's the problem. The school doesn't know what you are going to, how you're going to see that as a parent. Now, me being a parent, the first thing that I did when Nico told me, I was just like, okay, so what are we doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? Because, I tell people all the time, and we laugh about this, but I said, when he came out as a gay female, androgynous female, I was like, oh, we got that in the bag, child. Hello, your mom. Yeah. I can cover that spectrum.
Yeah.
But when he came out as a trans male, I just was like, this is apples and oranges for me, and I'm gonna have to do this.
You and I have such a story to tell, because I was like, yeah, gay man, yeah. I mean,
that was for me. I was like, okay,
what? I was like, wait, trans? What are you doing? What are you saying to me right now?
As soon as he came out as trans, I was like, oh, damn it.
But my mom said that. She said, "Can't you just stay a gay man? Wouldn't it be easier?"
I said, "Wait, I thought you were just gay." I said the words I said. I thought you were just gay. That's what I said. I thought you were just gay. What is this?
And I think when people hear that the trans, it's very scary.
Yes.
It's scary for a parent, because, like you said, Ellen, you go back to, you worry about your child's security. Are they going to be safe?
Yeah. And now I got to really protect you.
Yeah, exactly. And my mom always said, I was so worried about how you were going to make a living. Guess what? It never stopped me. That's why I said I'm a day walker. I've had a job from the time I transitioned my whole life into the medical field. So I've been blessed. I know everyone doesn't have the same story as me. But that's why I tell people, it's not about who you are, what you are. It's how you present yourself.
And let me say this to your point. My son is living because of how I love him.
Yes. Amen.
He's alive because of how I love him. He has mentioned that, before, that he doesn't know if he would have been able to make it if I didn't love him the way that I loved him. It's not. This world is a cruel world, but I know that when you love your child unconditionally, they develop this thick skin where they can still have hope. They can still move forward. They can still feel supported. They can still feel like they can get over these hurdles of people trying to tell them that they don't belong. So I know that was the one thing. And again, I tell people all the time. and that's another one of the worries. Him going out into this world, in this space, and somebody loving him less than what he deserves. See, I tell people all the time, this all sounds great on paper, and I try to maintain that I put out what I want to receive. But let's be very clear. I will choose violence.
I know that's Ellen, what are you? Wait, Ellen, what are you, 5'4", 5'3"?
I'm 5'5". I will choose.
Wow, what is that height? Oh my God.
I don't.
We are twins.
I don't care what. You better put some money on my books. I will choose violence.
I'm done with you. I'm done.
And I will, and I'm this way not just with my son. I could be this way with you. I could be this way with you. When I see, I'm just not a person that's going to stand idly by and watch somebody be stripped of them being a human being. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Now I may go in the corner and call 911 and start to, start to scheme and do some things. But I just am. That's just always who I've been. Sam has a question.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, I put it out there. I never want to interrupt when my speakers are speaking. I just want them to finish. Then we can. If there's room, we'll ask a question. The question is pretty straightforward. What would you say to the older generation of mothers? Because I'm all out of Grace coupons, and I just thought that was funny. But basically, Sam is asking for older parents whose kids are maybe older and still hiding in the closet. Sam, let us know if we're in the right track. But what would you say to that? Because I asked you the question about what would you say to parents, and I think we just.
Oh yeah, I didn't. You know what? That's a tough one for me, because I am just a person. When you love your child, you love your child. And so I understand. I don't want to dismiss that there's a level of not understanding. However, who did you love before your child came out? You love that human being.
The same person. Right?
So when you love your child and you say that runs unconditionally, you love your child. And so boundaries has been very important, that I've said and have learned that through my therapist. Boundaries are very important to continue to have to continue to have a life well lived. Boundaries are important because the same people that are in your space in the circle can be the same people that you that you're dealing with rejection, the same people that you have to be in therapy for because they are constantly creating a space that you are not worthy of existing. So you have to draw boundaries. And let me say this much: it's too much information out here for folks to not Google.
To still not know. Black people specifically, your child can be an axe murderer, serial rapist, kill everybody in this town, go bank robber, everything, but just can't be gay. What's that about?
Sam had a good question too. And how I speak to that is, one thing about growing up in the Southern Baptist Church, this Bible will have you. This Bible will have you in prison, and this is the same Bible that they kept us enslaved with.
Exactly.
If I'm
exactly,
we gonna talk.
Okay.
And now the black folks carry the Bible higher on their head than anybody ever. They make me just go bonkers.
And this is the same Bible that was split into two because the slave Bible
hiding some verses. Yes.
So I need people to really move themselves because, Bible has been adjusted to one's lifestyle and how they choose to live it. Because there's a lot of things in that Bible that we're not going to start talking about. Disrespecting the temple. I hope you ain't got no ear piercings and no tattoos. I hope you're not eating certain type of shrimps and meats.
Oh, I gotta have my shellfish. I knew you were gonna go there. Don't even mess with my shellfish.
I hope you're not talking about what type of blends of fabric and wool
they're wearing. Yes.
So when I was at Pride, and I know we got to wrap this up, but when I was at West Hollywood Pride, there's always somebody with the Bible and the bullhorn and this, that, and the third. And I told him, I said, here's the thing. I don't have a dispute with what you're saying. The problem that I have with this, are you standing outside of churches doing this?
Thank you.
Because this sinner's going into the house of the Lord too. Are you
there?
Because I'm there.
I'm writing that down.
Judgment is on that list too.
What they say, every sinner has a future and every saint has a past.
Oh my God.
So I think it's just one of the things where people want to pick and choose, and I don't think when you love somebody, it's a pick and choose moment. You either love them or you don't. You either love them.
And I'm going to say this about the older generation in religion. A lot of them have been scared in their religion. They've been told this is what you don't do. This is what you don't do. But you should just know how to love. But Those generations, they live by that Bible. They live by the word. They live by what that man is up there telling them to. And that same man, if Sister Patterson don't have paid her tithes for the last 6 months because she was in the hospital and she dies, they don't want to bury her or have her funeral at their church.
But you sure will keep the gayest man in front of these church choirs, won't you?
Oh,
We can ladies do this all day.
That's a whole, the church, that the religion is a whole nother thing.
yes.
But you know something, is Sam, I'm going to tell you this. Sometimes you just got to move on.
Sometimes you have to
Ooh, yeah.
and that speaks to boundaries, and you know, and
Yes.
it's about healthy living.
And coming, that's what I was saying about coming out for yourself, coming out to yourself, coming out for yourself, coming and then being your own self ally. Those three things. You have to come out
Exactly.
to yourself, come out for yourself, and then be your own self ally. Because all the people you think matter now, they all have their own lives.
It's about healthy living, because you know we're not promised tomorrow, next year,
Tonight.
next month, tonight.
Say it again.
And how does that, you know, I always look at how people add to my joy, my existence, how they lovingly add to me in my life. And if they can't do that, I don't know. If they can't do that, stay away. And there's boundaries that are set, and it says, hey, listen, this is what this is. And if you can't accept it on the terms that I am just trying to live my life joyful, then maybe this is the end of the road for us. And that's sometimes a hard conversation. I know that people have to get to that, but you'd be surprised when you set boundaries, how people be like, wait a second.
Can I tell you before? Oh my God, can I just tell you that last month, maybe May, I went live and I said, yo, I just had a conversation with my dad. And I told my dad, I said, Daddy, you cannot dead name my kid anymore. I said, she's 25 years old. That was before she turned 26. She's 25 years old, and you don't get to dead name her. You don't get to mispronounce her anymore. That's it. That's it. I just went there, which is something that Africans don't do. African children don't ever, our parents are always right. But I told my dad, I said, I'm sorry, this is it. Wasn't it last month, a month later, my dad used the right name and the right pronoun. My dad is 89, about to be 90.
And can I tell you this? And I talked about this last week. My parents, I know they support me. But sometimes my dad, he does mess up, and then he catches himself. That's why, and that's why I don't get, and he catches himself, and he calls me baby because I am the baby, or he calls me my sister, but he will say that name sometime, and I don't try to correct him. I say, Dad, I say, Dad, you know my name. He said, oh, yeah. I'm like, you're right. But my whole family called Chelsea.
But you know what, Chelsea, that's just for the fact that somebody is willing to acknowledge they are trying. I'm not going to take anything ever away from, because when I told Nico he came out at 18, well, I was calling him something else for 18 years.
Exactly. When I get really, really angry, that name still comes up. Not anymore, but in the past, when I get really pissed off, that name will come up, and I was like, but like you said, we hold ourselves accountable. If only, imagine, earlier on you were saying, imagine if everybody in the world today was allowed to be who they really are, how beautiful the world would be. There'll be absolutely no hatred. None.
Now I'm seeing that Elijah Marie's was banned from their comments.
I banned them because they were saying some things that just
people don't see, again, those setting boundaries. People don't understand. You will get blocked.
Yeah, you get.
I'll tell you what I love about technology.
But this is what I don't understand. If it bothers you, why insert yourself into it?
I don't know.
Let me tell you what I love about technology. I can block you, delete you, remove you. I don't have to speak. That's what. See, back in the day, you couldn't do that. You had to cross.
You couldn't.
You had to cross out a picture in the yearbook.
I tell people, I'm not blocking you. I'm not deleting you because I want you to hear what I have to say.
And I want to say both styles work. For me, I'm in the block department. I want to end on a lighter note because of this blocking. I've been going out on dates. And this gentleman that I met online, he's in New York, so we didn't go out on a date, but we're talking on the phone, and all I could hear was someone who was full of skepticism and just like was just interrogating me. And I said to myself, this is not a fucking job interview. This is supposed to be. So you know what I did? I blocked his little behind. And then he took another, I didn't know he used another phone the next day and called me. And I said, and he's like, oh, this is so and so. I said, I know that name. He was like, and I said, oh, you're the guy. So he's like, I said, what? He said, well, I just wanted to check to see if you really blocked me. I said, well, I did. He said, well, you know what? I used to be a model. I used to play soccer. Women are not a problem. I said, and yet you're single. And here's the thing, sir. It's my phone. If I want to block you, I'm going to block you. And I'm going to block you again. And that's what I did again. I was like, no. Listen, boundaries is queen.
do some own soul searching, some own healing.
Yes. Okay. So y'all, let's end because we will never end. It's 8:05. Sam says this episode has been healing and confirmation for me to keep going. Confirmation to you. I have no time to look behind me. Yes, that is why the windshield, the windshield is bigger than your what's the one you look at the back. The side view mirror is smaller than the windshield. So you have to focus on the bigger picture. Ellen, it has been amazing. I knew it was going to be good. I didn't know how good it was going to be. Thank you so much, Brown sister. Thank you so much for just coming here and just pouring your heart out, keeping it 100. You had some amazing quotes. I usually like to go over some of the quotes, and of course I put my glasses. You had some amazing quotes. I like the quotes that says, are you standing in front of the churches and doing this? That was amazing.
I never see them out there. Never. Oh, I never see them out there. Y'all wait until West Hollywood Pride to come do this foolishness.
I love Who Did You Love Before Your Child Came Out. I love that. I love that. That was amazing. And then I love We're Not Just Fucking With You. That was it.
And I think to add to the Who Did You Love Before Your Child Came Out, that was the deal breaker. Your child coming and embracing who they are authentically, that was the deal breaker.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one for me is a tough one.
Oh.
That was the deal breaker.
Thank you for me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know what? You know, Chelsea, this happened last week. The last minute of the show, we get like this, bam! Amazing nugget. That is the title of your book. Your book is titled "That Was the Deal Breaker" because I'm writing my article tomorrow.
That was the deal breaker. I'm gonna definitely have to do that.
I'm putting that quote, and I'm going to quote you, but that's definitely
that was the deal breaker.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a deal breaker. That surprises me that was a deal breaker. You love this child for 20-something years, and on 26th year, you was like, no, that was a deal breaker.
I need to meditate on that. I need to meditate on that. Thank you so much, Raymond Jensen, for joining us. Thank you to the people that join us, Bruce Henry. Thank you, Richard Schmidt. Thank you, all the bunch of people who join us on Instagram. So many people. Cindy Sutton says, I can't read anything. It's too small. Okay, I don't know what to do about that. Thank you for this excellent educational information.
Get some glasses.
Sending you guys love and positive vibes from Canada, from Alex. Thank you all so much. Alex says, I sit in white privilege and I know it. It breaks my heart to hear your experience with hate. I want to send you all the love from Canada. By the way, I love your dad. He's an amazing man. And that was for Chelsea's dad. Thank you all so much for joining us. Listen, we are here every single Sunday a las 7 de la tarde or a las 7 de la noche, if you want to go with that. My name is Dr. Lulu. The show is called Moms, the number 4 Trans Kids. We are here and we're not going anywhere. Muchísimas gracias de mi corazón to Ellen Craig for coming here, being my twin sister, keeping it 100. And of course for Chelsea, 31 years and just being as fabulous as ever. Y'all, I'll see y'all next Sunday. I will be coming back from Palm Springs, so hopefully I'll be able to do this, but we'll see. But y'all, thank you so much for coming. Please find the show, follow the show, leave us a review. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Mamatrician, and yes, I'm a mama beast, and I do not give a fuck. Peace, love, and soul. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Love it.